I recently gave away all my batteries, free of charge. What's going on, YouTube? It's Tuesday after 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which means we have 3 vendors reflipped here for us. So we're going to start inside the Infinite Archive, inside of Apocrypha, to go over our first of 3 vendors. Please hit the like and subscribe button, because we always start with our boy Filer Ul to talk about, do you need to get these items? First one's Malakath Brutal Ritual Oil. Now, Malakath's Band of Brutality is certainly a unique mythic, probably going to be very good if the crit surge meta starts to get countered by a lot of people building in Impen. Malakath's Band of Brutality is going to see a lot of value because it gives you a flat damage increase, but the actual lead that we're talking about, the public dungeon, it's just not worth buying. But the actual mythic itself, increase your damage done by 16%. The trade-off being you decrease your critical damage by 50%, is a really good way to kind of build this counter meta PvP build where you just crank out a lot of damage. So it's definitely a good mythic to consider, not a lead that you need to purchase. Next up is one of the more annoying things to get, because Malakath's Band of Brutality is 5 pieces. This bad boy is 10 pieces, and this is the Perpetual Spinning Wheel lead. Now, this is one of 10 things that you need to combine together to complete the Apocrypha Jewelry Crafting Station. What's annoying, though, is that this only drops from the Infinite Archive. So if you wanted to get it, it is certainly okay to purchase, because it will at least, be a little bit faster for you, because it only drops from leads from chests, marauders, etc. inside the Infinite Archive. If you're farming Infinite Archive a lot, likely you will have a chance here to get this bad boy because you're already farming it a whole lot. But this is one of those mythics that's kind of annoying to get and is beautiful and practical because it's literally a jewelry station you can use for your house. Next up is Balorgs. Now, this is how this actually looks up here. 15,000 archival fortunes would save you an okay-ish amount of money. If you're on PC, it's about 1 million gold to about 2.45 million gold. Very low listing volume right now of this. Those are PC prices, which are inflated. On console, it's probably closer to 600,000 to 1 million gold, so keep that in mind. If that's worth that in archival fortunes to you, really just depends on how much you farm archival fortunes, how much you value your gold. Everybody has differing levels of ESO currency, so it's hard to know what is always a good value for those exchanges, but there's some other items below that you can actually use to change your archival fortunes to gold that we'll talk about when we get to them. One of the ways that you could convert your archival fortunes to gold, but it's not recommended, is you could buy these furnishing plans. Now, the furnishing plans themselves have this TSC average, and the nice thing about that is that these are actually pretty valuable when it comes to their averages, but there are ones obviously that are significantly more valuable. The problem is the recipe is bind on pickup, meaning that you would have to make your money back by selling the actual completed item, which is going to be slightly problematic because everybody and their mom could come purchase these if they wanted. And it takes a lot of rare materials like heartwood, obsidian, decorative waxes, resins, specific things like mundane runes. Some of these will also require actual items that come from the specific zones they're from. Not the greatest investment if you wanted to convert those archival fortunes to gold, but if you are looking for rare recipes, want to save some gold buying those, it is a great option. Deshaun Treasure Maps is an easy skip. Yes, the sets there like Plague Doctor, Mother Sorrow are pretty decent when it comes to even reselling all the way in 2025, but it does not justify 2,000 archival fortunes. 5,000 for heavy equipment for companion gear is pretty decent, just because you have a decent chance to get good ones. Like, you want heavy armor usually for your tank companions. Tank companions are the most popular. Those are usually the most annoying ones to purchase because they're usually so expensive. You get reduced damage, reduced cooldowns, increased health. All of those would be helpful for your tanking companions, which would make this a decent gamble if you have a lot of archival fortunes. Next up is a deck fragment, which is an easy skip. This bad boy literally just drops from a public dungeon. You ain't got to worry about this bad mamma jamma. Then we got 2 books, The Denizens of Apocrypha and Malakath's Journal. 2 things, if you're ever interested in some light reading, feel free to buy these bad boys. Then we have our scripts of Courage, Shock Damage, and Wayfarer's Mastery. I'm actually a huge fan of Courage and Shock Damage. I think both of which have a really good place in the meta, but not in a place where you need to like rush out to go buy these. Buy them with gold or do them with your daily quest. How do you buy them with gold? There's a second vendor here that we're going to go into that has these bad boys for gold. It's rotational, so it's not always the same ones a week, but it's definitely a great way to save out on premium currencies like Archival Fortunes and Telvar, because generally you want to use your archival fortunes for rare mythics, save yourself some really annoying leads, or style pages that are really valuable. Those are usually a better investment for you. You could also, if you are interested, buy Malographic Ichor to get the Malographic Ichor mount. It's a pretty big mount. But it also drops fragments from farming the Infinite Archive, which is also very helpful. But if you really are interested, you could actually buy this fragment right here, the Remnant of Deception. 1,000 archival fortunes turns into about 8,000 gold on average. Now, I was complaining last week because the fragment was actually untradeable. This week, the fragment is tradable. I don't know why they are tradable versus untradeable, but this is something that you could resell if you wanted for about 8,370 gold. And if you're like, Jake, what does that bad Mamma Jamma do? It's a little bit interesting, but what it does, it gives you a memento that does this. So it's kind of cool. You're like cutting a hole in the space fabric thing, creating a little portal, bad Mamma Jamma, for completing and getting all these remnants of deceptions completed. So if you're interested in that, hey, feel free to buy it or work on getting these fragments. A lot of people are probably going to be selling these fragments for cheap. So if you do want to save archival fortunes, look for people selling the Remnant of Deception on the ESO market. Mournhold, Wayrest, Elden Root, you'll probably see a bunch of these bad boys listed. And now we're into our second vendor here, which is inside of the Scholarium. One of you guys is like, Jake, how the world do you get here? It's in Ivea, which is actually over here outside of our realm of existence, below Cold Harbor, above Clockwork City. Not sure if you could physically navigate yourself to that if you were to walk, but talk to this bad boy, the Chronicler, and he will sell you some rotational scripts. Now, these ones all at the bottom rotate. It's in Veneration, Magic of Steel, Dispel, Cavalier's Charge, Class Mastery. Class Mastery is static. It's achievement based. It's here every week. The rest of these in Veneration, Magic of Steel, Dispel, Cavalier's Charge are rotational. Now, I generally recommend you buy any of these because if you don't have a character who has every script unlocked, you're probably going to find yourself in a weird situation where you're like, I'm missing the Magic of Steel script. You know, and I'm trying to be a completionist. I keep doing my daily quests, keep getting the wrong ones, for example. So I generally recommend you buy any of these, but if you're trying to save money, the best one here is probably Cavalier's Charge, with this ability to go in with Banner Bearer as its kind of script ability to kind of make a really cool scribable skill. But the rest of these are also certainly fine, but I don't think you're going to find yourself using the majority of these. But I still would recommend, if you don't have a character that's got all these unlocked, just get them on at least one character. And if you do have a character where you think you might use some of these, you can get those specific ones on that character. And next up, we are inside our final vendor, which is inside the Imperial City Sewers. If you need help finding any of these bad boys, ESOhelper.com, more information on the actual vendors themselves, what they do, what they may have, but refocus in these videos what they actually do have. So we start off with Blunted Blades as a 100k Telvar item, which I'll tell you right now, ain't worth it. When you take damage, Minor in Veneration is applied to your enemy for 4 seconds, reducing their critical damage done by 10%. This could occur once every 5 seconds and increase your damage done to enemies with Minor Veneration by 6%. You'll have noticed, though, that you could already get this value from a script. So this set's like a 5 out of 10. You're not getting anything really helpful. It's as if you just put on a random ESO set, in my opinion, and you were just getting a little bit of value from it. Maybe that's a little bit harsh, but 100k Telvar, and you can literally see its value is about 1.5k. Now, that's probably closer to like a blue or a purple version of this amulet, but still, the juice is not worth the squeeze. Next up, we have Vanguard Challenge. Now, this bad boy also is a PvP set because these are always PvP sets. This bad boy drops from Battleground, so tons of people just have this in their inventory, and they are absolutely done with owning this set. It gives you health, healing taken. When you taunt an enemy player, they deal 35% less damage to all other players, but 35% more damage to you for 15 seconds. This effect is lost if you enter stealth, sneak, invisibility, or move further than 28 meters away from them. This actually used to be 50 and 100%. So at some point it was changed, but nobody's really running this set. Yes, you could use this to be like a little bit of a troll who taunts everybody and then just causes everybody, you know, to deal less player damage to everybody else. A ball group may run a set like this, but generally there's just better options for a full 5-piece set out there. I'll give it a 7 for its group play ability. You could certainly mass taunt a bunch of people, cause everybody to take less damage around you, but I still would not recommend it to run. There's just better ways to be a good support character, even if you are in one of those trolley ball groups. Next up is a lead that a lot of people actually really struggled with. It's the Band of Water from the Ring of the Wild Hunt. Now, this one just drops from public dungeon bosses in Badman's Hollow, but When this mythic first came out, Bad Man's Hollow turned into Neutral Man's Hollow because there were so many good guys in there killing the bad guys, basically renamed the whole group dungeon. But now, thankfully, if you want to farm the dungeon bosses in there, there's significantly less competition, because when this did first come out, it was really annoying to try to actually kill it before other players would come in and kill it because everybody was farming it. Ring of the Wild Hunt, for those of you who don't know, just gives you a great speed increase, 15% while in combat, 45% while out of combat, and stacks with every other speed up named buff, as well as obviously the other unnamed ones as well. So it's a fantastic mythic, one that most players should own. Not probably worth it for 25k Telvar in 2025, but it is fun to think back and think about how annoying that was. And one that literally drops from the same vein is the Lucient Cabochon. Somebody's going to correct me in the comments. It is a very similar Apocrypha public dungeon bosses. Now, this one obviously is going to require you to have Apocrypha as the ability to get it. And Velothi is a very, very good mythic. I would say even with all of the other mythics coming out, Velothi is still an S tier mythic. It gives you physical penetration, or offensive penetration, excuse me, and increases your damage done to monsters by 15%. You gain minor courage at all times, increasing your crit damage done by 10%, and only reduces your light and heavy attacks done by 99%. So basically, it's like, hey, don't do any light and heavy attacks. We'll just boost everything else up you do, give you a bunch more damage. So a lot of beam builds and other very specific subclassing builds will really benefit from this mythic, and it definitely has a home when it comes to builds in 2025. Next up are Bankrai treasure maps, which are the easiest skip out there. The Bankrai world bosses are so over farmed, they shouldn't even be called world bosses anymore. They're basically mobs at this point. It's like when you're playing a game and you kill the boss and you get to recruit it to your side. That's pretty much how the world bosses in Bankrai feel, because every ESO event that focuses on killing world bosses, they just get absolutely ham-fisted and decimated. And so then we have our rings of the things that we talked about earlier. So they are obviously easy skips. And then we get ourselves a little bit of a sticky wicket here, because there actually are some pretty good scripts for Telvar. For example, I'm a huge fan of heroism. Being able to generate heroism, and obviously with the infinite combat bugs as they are in PvP, being able to constantly have heroism is fantastic. The only issue is that one, Telvar is a very premium currency, and two, you generally only need it on very specific builds. And three, again, Telvar is a premium currency. Don't be wasting it just on scripts. I literally was thinking about buying a script for 1.3 million gold, because you can do that on the ESO open market from other players. They have a very rare chance to drop as tradable. And then the next week, it came up in our Tuesday vendor, the Scholarium. I bought it for like 10k gold. So keep that in mind. But Interrupt, Bleed Damage, and Leeching Thirst are all easy skips in my opinion. Heroism is the only one that makes me go, it is really nice to stack heroism inside of PvP. And if you're a PvPer, you probably got some Telvar, so you might got a little bit of investment money to throw around for some builds if you're interested. And finally, we have the Fragment of the Ascendant. Now, this bad boy is a skill style that will make your roar as a werewolf turn green. Now, this one you would get by completing Moonhunter Keep. It is a guaranteed drop. The other things you would have to do, you can see above, like Blessed Crucible, you'd have to kill Lake Watch Tower boss, Bad Man's Hollow, Persine's Haunt. Obviously, the two ones at the bottom, those are dungeon bosses, so those are going to be the more annoying ones. Moonhunter Keep is certainly not a free dungeon. You could just mosey on in there with your thumbless friends, but I would say it's still easily completable. 25k Telvar, don't have to complete it on veteran. Not something you need to worry about. Plus, two, the majority of players are really not going to be focused on a green roar for werewolves. The majority of people are probably think, it's fine. But everyone, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. A lot of options across the spectrum here. I think the best ones are probably going to be the Fragment that you can convert to gold. The other items that I think might be worth considering are just any of the mythic leads. Battle Orgs is always worth considering if you have somebody that's got a lot of archival fortunes. The Scholarium has some okay-ish items depending on what you're interested in. But I think, again, this is a week where most people are not going to be jumping, or saying, oh my gosh, I need to go get this item. So thankfully, it's an item where you can save the majority of your currency. But if you have any suggestions, ideas, things that you want to see in the future, leave them in the comments below. I'll catch you guys later. We have a quick 3 giveaway drawings. All you need to do to enter is leave a comment in the comments below / like on the video. Second thing is just make sure you're subscribed. And the third thing is look for hidden word be flashed upon the screen. If you're the first person to find and comment that word, you will win. Have a fantastic Tuesday, everyone, and I'll catch you later. Bye, guys.
You better remember to like and subscribe to Jakeclips. Or you should. I might have to pluck your eyes if you don't. Or, better yet, I'll skip rope with your entrails. Do it now. Subscribe. Ta-ta. Off with you.